In this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to set up the engine that makes all of this stuff work. So if you'll recall, we've built this guy, so when they opt in, they have somewhere to go. We've built this guy, so we're able to deliver on our promises and give them some really, really cool stuff. And now all we need to do is sort of build this system that makes them get added from your opt-in page to your autoresponder, adds them to a list, and adds them to a sequence where we start emailing them. And of course, we want to build our very first email that sends them to this download page. So in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through how to build all of this behind the scenes stuff, this initial behind the scenes stuff, and tie in Infusionsoft with your opt-in page. Now this is all very, very simple. It's essentially clicking buttons, and you actually are going to have to copy and paste basically one string of numbers, and that's the whole thing. So it's really, really easy. All right, so we're going to do it right now. So the first thing we'll do is I'm going to go into my lead pages control panel as well as Infusionsoft, and I'll show you how to get everything integrated. Let's get to it. You go over here to lead pages, and at the top under my account, you have something that's called integrations, and we're going to pull that up here in a sec. Here we go. You go over here, you click on this integrations button, right? And we're really doing very little except clicking buttons here, so please don't let this throw you off, all right? So we have a list of all the people that they can integrate with. So once we're over here, what you want to do is choose the one that's best for you. So obviously right now, this video is about Infusionsoft. So you want to click on Infusionsoft from this list. You can see I've already got it checked. I'm going to disconnect my Infusionsoft account here so I can walk you through how to do it. And in this case with Infusionsoft, it's a little different. They want you to have your account simple name. So, you know, your name for Infusionsoft is always whatever.infusionsoft.com as demonstrated here. Mine is mass control. masscontrol.infusionsoft.com, and now they're going to ask for our API key. So let me take you to Infusionsoft and show you where that is. What you want to do is you log into Infusionsoft, and whatever you see on your home screen is fine, right? You just go right over here in their menu, you go to admin, and you go to settings. You click on all settings there, and then you go to application, and down here at the bottom, now I've hidden it because it's supposed to be super secret, so I hid it with that little text document that we're keeping track of our pages with. But right down here you got something called the encrypted key and the API passphrase, and one of these guys here is the encrypted key. One of these guys is a long series of numbers and characters and stuff, and that is what you want to paste up in her. So I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to click Save Infusionsoft Account Information. So I'll do that off camera so I don't show my super secret API key. And kablamo, about 2 seconds later, it worked, right? So it is now integrated with Infusionsoft. Now, what that means is that now when we build this page and someone clicks here, this is just going to work and feed people into Infusionsoft or Aweber or whichever one of those guys you want to integrate with. So we don't have to do any code. We don't have to do any opt-in form weird stuff, right? That's a pain in the butt and totally confusing. All we got to do is say add them to this list in this account, whether it's Infusion or Aweber or whoever you choose to use, and you're off to the races. So that's really, really easy. So now that we have that set up, we have really created the entire engine of this system now. It's time to really start putting the pieces of the puzzle together. All right, so the next thing we need to do is before we build the pages over here in lead pages, we need to actually build the email that goes out as soon as someone opts in, and also tell lead pages and Aweber or Infusionsoft, whoever you choose to use, where to send people as soon as they opt in. So remember, we've already built these pages. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to tell our CRM system, hey, after someone opts in, send them to this thank you page, right? So how do we do that? Well, let me walk you through how to do it. Here's how to tie all this stuff together with Infusionsoft. So if you recall the earlier video, I walked you through how to integrate lead pages with Infusionsoft by connecting through the little super secret API key thingy, the old cut and paste method. So now we're just going to build the web form, and we're going to tie in the autoresponder and all that. And this is really easy. So no matter where you are in Infusionsoft, here's what you want to do. You want to go to the main menu, and under marketing, select campaign builder. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a campaign. Now, if you've never used campaign builder before, don't worry about it. totally fine, not a big deal. We just click that add a campaign button, and now first thing we're going to do is we're going to name it. So this will be list class demo. All right, I'll click on save, and we now have the makings of a campaign here in Campaign Builder. It's the coolest thing ever because it's drag and drop and it's really intuitive. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to define a goal, and a goal is the thing that must occur in order for them to start a campaign. Now, you can deploy campaigns to people who are already on your list or new people. So that's why there's so many options, right? In this case, we're going to use it for new people. So we're going to say, we're going to choose this circle here. It's called Other. And we're going to go over here. We're just going to drag it in the Campaign Builder. And that means whenever this thing, which is now titled Other, occurs, they will be added to a campaign. So let me show you how to sort of make all that happen. The first thing you'll notice is you have this little purple pen thing looking, or that's really a tag. So what we need to do is we need to click on that, and we're going to change the goal setting. So right now, this means that a person will be added to your list and everything will deploy as soon as a tag is applied. Well, they're brand new, so we're not going to have that happen. Instead, we're going to select this, submits a web form. And that means, I'll go ahead and hit save, that means that as soon as someone fills out a web form, they're going to be added to the rest of this campaign, which we have yet to build. So now what we're going to do is we're going to build the web form. Now this is really easy. So to do that, you just double click the middle of this circle here, and 10,000 years will go by because my computer is super slow right now because we're filming. And as you can see, this is what the web form looks like. Now, it integrates with lead pages, so don't worry about the aesthetics of the web form. None of this actually is ever seen in real life, okay? So we're going to leave this alone. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to name it. So right now it's just called Other. And so we're going to go up here and we're just going to click on Rename. And this is important because when we're in lead pages, we're going to say, okay, opt-in page, integrate with this web form, right? So this is a big deal. So we'll call this list class, is that right? Web form. There we go. No need to capitalize everything. Okay, so I want to make sure I remember what this is called. I'll show you why here in just a sec. So now our next step is to, let's see here. Hang on, I got to find my little page. There we go. Our next step is to define the thank you page, and that is where people go after they opt in. So we just click this tab up here that says thank you page. Now we don't want them to redirect to this weird looking page, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to say we want them to go to a web address. So after they opt in, we want to go send them to a web address. Well, where do you think that's going to be? Remember, we made this little guy right here. So this is the thank you page with offer. Remember, we want them, as soon as they opt in, to see our thank you page that has the sales video on there. So I'm just going to copy this URL, and I'm going to paste it right here. Bing. And we are ready to go. That's all the work we have to do with that web form. So we go from draft to ready by clicking this tab here, then we go back to campaign. So now we have a web form, but we got to have something else, right? After they submit the form and they go to see our offer on the thank you page, what needs to happen? Well, if you'll remember from our little process map, they need to simultaneously be added to our campaign and get that very first email. Well, that's really easy with Campaign Builder. So what we're going to do is now we're going to add a follow-up sequence to this. So you click on this little thing that says sequences, and we're just going to drag this sequence right over here. And we're going to drag this little arrow connecting the web form to the sequence. That means as soon as someone fills in this web form, they're now going to be put into the sequence. And now we can just start adding stuff to the sequence. So to add stuff to the sequence, you just double click it. Super easy. We don't mess with this at all. And what do we want to have happen? Well, we want them to immediately get our email number 1, right? So we click over here on communications. We drag the email thingy over here. It automatically connects with an arrow because that's kind of how sequences work. So to edit this email and to actually make it say something, we just double click it. Super easy. And first thing we're going to do is it's called untitled email. So I always like to name it. So I'm just going to call this email 1. And that's good. And then from the contact's owner, I want to make sure there's no room for error here. So I'm going to choose other, and I'm going to put my name as the from name. And then I'll put my actual email address here for the email address. There we go. Okay, and then we don't mess with the 2 here, and the subject line will be something like thanks, and let's merge their first name in there. So, thanks first name. And I'll get rid of that exclamation point there. Thanks first name, exclamation point. There we go. And now it's time to make this thing look cool, all right? So you never want to send an email out that looks like this. It just says, I'm a corporate-y person that is sending you an automated message and trying to sell you something. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change this layout. So we click on Layout and Style. We see this little thingy come up over here. I'll just move it for us. And I'm going to say no pre-header needed, no header needed, no footer needed. The email width is okay, but I want it to be aligned over there to the left. Perfect, all right? Almost. But now look, we don't want this weird gray background and stuff. So now we go over here to style and we say, man, I think I just want the simple style, like the really simple one right here. So I'll click on that. So now we have the makings of a non-fancy email. But what about all this weird thing? We don't want this. We just click the little trash can here. We're going to click the trash can here. And we're now going to start editing, this. But you know what I'm going to do? Because I don't like this weird headline and all that, I'm just going to get rid of this whole thing. And I'm going to add a new blank part. So you'll notice now, like, we can't edit this because this is going to be kind of strange. So what we do is we go to snippets. I'm just going to drag a paragraph snippet right down here. And this is what we're going to actually use to fill in the body copy of the email with. So I just highlighted that text. I'm just going to start typing. Hey, and I think I'll put their first name back in here. Hey, first name. I just click that merge field for first name, comma, enter, right? Thanks for requesting this free report. You can download it here. Now, that's very, very basic, right? Talk soon. Rick James, because I've legally changed my name to Rick James now. Not really. Okay, so how do we make this link downloadable here? Well, we have 2 choices, right? So the first thing we can do is we can simply, by the way, before I even show you this, which of these links are we going to use? Now remember, they opted in, they've seen the thank you page with the sales video on there. Now we're giving them what we promised them, which is the download page, right? Where they download their PDF, so we're going to send them here. So our first thing we can do is I'm just going to copy this, is I can just put a link under here and just paste that link in, right? Now you'll notice this isn't blue, so what I need to do is I need to highlight this again, and I need to make it a real link. So in order to do that, I go back over here to Format, and I just click on link here. With this text highlighted, I click on link, and I just paste that web address in there. Bing, and I click on insert. So now it's live. I could also, if I want to, make the words download it here a hyperlink. I do that, the same thing, highlight it, click the link button, and boom, we're ready to rumble. Click on insert, update, and there we go. So voila, that's email number 1, right? So now I just go change it from draft to ready. I click on back to sequence. Now this whole sequence here, I'm going to name this thing because it's called untitled sequence. I'm just going to name it. You don't have to name it, by the way. You could leave it untitled, but I like to have it normal, you know. I'll just call it follow up. So I click on save. Now it's in draft mode, so I click it to ready. I go back to campaign and I just click on publish and say okay. And now we're ready to rumble. That means now I can tell lead pages to integrate with Infusionsoft, and when someone fills in their name and email in lead pages, it applies them to this form and they go to this follow-up sequence. And I can do this for as many forms and as many follow-up sequences as I want, as many different opt-in pages on lead pages as I want. See how easy that was? So that's how you set up the inner workings of your campaign in Infusionsoft. So in our next video, I'm going to show you how to actually build the opt-in page, and then you know what? We are done. So we'll be good to go. Okay, so I will stop this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.